camera. Exciting. Well, sorry we're a little late. We had a little technical difficulty over in our open session at Palmerston. So everybody knows Bill's password now.
Actually, that's Matt's.
Oh, it's Matt. So everybody knows
Minto
Matt's password now.
signs.
So we'll have to get that eliminated really quickly on the computer because it was a bit of a problem. So I got the other one started a little late, but thanks for coming. And this, I always enjoy this one when we get to hand out money to people instead of take money from them. So it's always nicer. So I'll get going on this and get you to that point. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Elliott. The minutes of the September 4th, 2018 council meeting be approved. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Dirksen. The Town of Minto Council convenes in the committee of the whole. All in favor?
Hey, you're good.
Additional items as disclosed. Has anybody got additional items? Oh.
I have two here.
Two. Jean has one. Judy. Bill. Ron's good. Everyone. Well, if you have another one, let me know.
Oh,
I might have one.
I might have one.
All right. Where are we now, Bill? Delegations.
Yeah.
You made it. As I said, this is always fun because there's a lot of hard work goes into the Mayor's Golf Tournament. I call it the Mayor's Golf Tournament, but it's not the Mayor's Golf Tournament. It's the council's and the staff's golf tournament. And it was brought together here about 8 years ago to try to raise some money for some local charities that couldn't maybe do a golf tournament. It would be hard to do because of their size of their charity or whatever, and it's tough. I know, Hammer, you've done many golf tournaments. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's pretty scary because you got weather and all the other things. So it's been a great pleasure to do this for the last 8 years, and so tonight we get to give out the checks to the groups that really participated really well with us again, and I'll bring them up one at a time. And if you have a few comments you want to make about your charity and where your money's going, by all means, would you do that? And because we're we'll be on Whiteman as well as our own. So, want the clip off? Okay, what, you want to hurt myself?
I don't want you to injure yourself.
Okay.
Not this late.
All right, late this day. Yeah, I can take the deputy mayor with me on this. You all right? I come. Okay.
All right, I'll come. This might be my
This
last.
might be his last
ceremony.
Some of us are retired, or maybe some of us aren't. Both of us maybe. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. Anyways, you got it? Okay, you take them. So the first group up, and this is really lots of fun. And I never worked at York Ice Cream. My brother did, and my dad did. And a lot of people say, your dad worked? Well, back in the day, when you were a teacher, you didn't make enough money to survive the summer. So he worked in the ice cream plant as a worker through the summers just to get enough money to put some food on my table, I guess, or whatever. But so that's a lot of food. So, David, would you like to come up? I called Dave Hammer because that's just this thing he can call me my nickname if he wants. But I want to give you this check. Now, you can't see how much it is because nobody knows yet. And so, well, I'll let you guys all open up at the same time. No. Yeah. Okay. There. So I can get you to say a couple words. Well, you can say as much as you want.
All right. I did make a
Oh, good. Excellent.
Anyways, on behalf of the Canada Pack Reunion Committee, I'd like to thank, the Mayor, George, Council, and the organizing committee of the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament. It's always a great tournament and always very well run. And I want to thank you, Janet, as always. This is the first year I've ever seen her rattle.
Yeah, I rattled her.
Yeah. I'd also like to thank the groups that worked with us to make the Canada Packers Reunion a great success. Thank you to the Minto Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Revitalization Committee, Harrison Kinsman, the Harrison branch of the Royal Canadian Legion, Harrison Historical Society, Leslie Motors, and the staff of the Town of Minto. Organizing committee consisted of a number of former employees along with members of the organizations that helped make the event the success it was. Our original intent was not to make a lot of money. It was also not to lose a lot of money. Our desire was to work with the Chamber and the other groups to make the Harrison Street Party a tremendous success, and I think we succeeded. After all our bills are paid, any monies that we raise over and above will be donated to the Kinsman Historical Society and any other community project that the committee decides would be a worthwhile project. I want to thank the members of our committee that are sitting in the front row here. Aren't you glad you came to the front row? And also to our fearless leader, Mr. David Turton.
We can have all the committee up and David up for the picture. That'd be great.
Okay.
Please come up. You guys, everybody was on the committee, come up for the picture.
That was the mic drop?
Yeah, that's my drop.
I'm not so tall anymore. I talked to the other day, and he said so far free.
Nope, I got him.
Are we all on the picture?
You're on the picture.
I don't want to be in the picture. I'm trying to stand. Put your head on your desk.
Didn't even have to say.
Just have a little snooze.
Okay. And up next, what's our next envelope? Minto Dance Academy. Wow. They had a lot of fun. Come on up. Oh, Belinda's going to do the talking, then you're going to come up for the picture. Okay.
To speak, yes. Okay.
Don't look at
so
me. Don't look
I won't. I tried to convince him earlier to tell me the secret, but he wouldn't. Yeah, on behalf of the Minto Dance Academy, we have some of our executive members here. So President Nicole, past President Laura, and Deb's on our board directors too. And we have some littles here. So Alyssa, Maddie, Bryn, and Savannah. We want to thank Mayor Bridge and Janet and Gord and the whole committee for putting on this great tournament every year. I've always been a part of it on the opposite side. So this year is kind of fun to be a part of it as a recipient group. So what we're doing with the funds this year is we have, well, first off, we have 104 dancers this year, which is the most we've ever had. And they're taking 183 classes. So we're really proud of the growth of our organization. It's all volunteer run, not-for-profit group. So what we're doing with our funds this year is we're getting new flooring in our waiting room for the parents. We have some really shaggy, rough-looking carpet, so that needs to be replaced. And also refinishing the floor in the studio. So our home is in the Town Hall Theater. And then it's a recital year. So if we have extra funds and we can help out with recital stuff, then that's what we're doing with the funds. So thank you very much. And you want pictures?
Yep, we want everybody up for pictures.
This is a narrower picture. Yeah, that is why. Harder to hide. Actually, I can hide behind the mirror pretty good. It's a great picture.
Okay. Are you hiding back there, Bill?
Yeah, somehow I can hide
I forgot
behind
to
you.
say that our recital
Oh,
first.
here.
And our dance recital is May 31st, June 1st, and 2nd this year.
Okay.
Come on out.
And who's doing the next one?
Gabby.
North for Youth. Gabby, are you doing that, Gabby? Okay. Excellent. There you go. I did.
No.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just gonna
You can
do it off the
you
cuff,
can
I
do it off
guess.
the cuff.
For those of you that don't know me, my name is Gabby, and I'm the Community Youth Resiliency Worker. I work on behalf of North for Youth, which is a group of community members and service providers who are trying to work with youth 13 to 24, just engaging them in different programs and activities. So the funds that we received from the golf tournament are going to go towards continuing different programs and advocating for more services for local youth in the community. So thank you very much for selecting us as a recipient this year, allowing us to be part of this, and I'm excited to see the check.
Are you on your own? You're on your own? Okay. And Gabby, we really appreciate the fact that I know with you and Taylor and what you're doing for the youth, and the youth has done an amazing job. Bill was mentioning actually in the planning meeting today that for the plan for Palmerston and Harrison, and that we're actually asking the youth to comment on it, because this stuff goes on for 20 years. So some of us might not be around to see that. So it'd be nice if the youth has a real good say into how we're planning the future in our three towns. So really good stuff. Anyways.
Okay.
One more.
So now, if you get your get your envelopes, get ready.
On 10.
Open them up together. Everybody open them up together. Don't say anything. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I think this has been the best one we've ever had, and everybody got $4,500. So amazing. So enjoy that money. Thank you. Oh, that goes back.
Now what are you going to do with the money? That's great. Yeah, I know.
Well, you can stay, you guys.
No, we don't put you through that.
They got the money.
They got their money.
Take your money and run.
All good, all good.
Money and run.
They have dance class. Oh, that's good.
Should have had James.
You didn't want to talk. I'm sure they asked you. I'm just feeling lonely.
I told her that's why she was.
Well, that's a lot better.
I just hate
And I'm in a public meeting, right?
threatening her every time I come in this public meeting.
Don't hide all of them. We're going to need some chairs up there.
Okay.
What's his name? Oh, is that right?
You guys, I have to go.
All right. Welcome everybody that's left. But now we actually have 4 public meetings tonight, so we'll get started. And I'll act as chair of the public meeting, and I'll call the meeting to order and request any member of the public present to please sign the attendance record. So hopefully everybody's been able to sign the record. And I'll state the following. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the town of Minto before the bylaws passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the town of Minto to the local planning appeal tribunal, and a person or public body may not be added as party to the hearing of the appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there's reasonable grounds to do so. I'll now ask the CEO, Clerk White, to state the municipal address and legal description of the property and purpose and effect of the application and date notice they're sent. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. The property subject to the proposed amendment is located on Concession 7, South Part Lot 21, 9134 Wellington Road 5, Town Minto. The purpose of the proposed amendment is to rezone the land to permit expansion of the existing farm equipment repair business. The existing zoning currently permits a 743.2 square meter, 8,000 square foot tractor and farm equipment repair shop, in addition to the agricultural uses. The applicant is proposing to expand the farm equipment repair business to a maximum of 2,043 square meters or 22,000 square feet. A recently constructed shed would be utilized as part of the expansion. Other zoning relief may be considered for the proposal where appropriate. Notice was mailed to landowners within 120 meters and applicable agencies August 29th and posted on the lands. Comments were received from the town of Minto staff, and the building assistant's report is in the package, and she's here tonight to present it. And Curtis Marshall, senior planner, and Jessica Wilton, junior planner, County of Wellington, and their report is included as well.
So I will then ask the agent to provide comments regarding the proposed amendment of the plan. Is the agent here? Yeah, or applicant. Yeah, applicant, sorry. Would you like to come up? Oh, there's Troy. Yeah. Okay.
I got nothing much to comment other than we've we're thankful for our community so far and for what the community has done in this, and we're looking to expand. And I don't have many comments.
Well, if you want to take a seat, Mr. Weber, and then in case there is questions, then you can. Thank you very much. Okay, and I have confident anybody wanting to comment in favor of the proposed amendment? Favor? Okay, then you're up next. If I'm just waiting for anybody else in favor, it's okay. So anyone in opposition to the proposed plan, please state your name and.
My name is John Denete.
And okay, John.
And I live on the 7th line of Minto.
Okay. Yep.
First, how come we put up a building? Was there a permit issued by the building inspector?
Mm-hmm.
When was the permit issued?
Bill?
I don't, if I may, I don't have the dates for that, but there was a permit, I believe, issued for an agricultural building addition. So now the proposal is to convert it to something else.
Right.
Well, it's the wrong way to go about it. The meeting should have been here first before the building went up. I'm against this because it's not the right way to do it, okay? You don't put up a building and then go and change it. That's not the way you do it, sir. I'm sorry. I've been in construction all my life. Okay.
Sorry, it's not. You're looking at me.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, no, I
address the whole council.
Yeah, the whole council on that. I understand your concerns. I think that I don't have the building inspector isn't here, but I assume that's why we're having this discussion today, is the building was put up and now they want to change the usage, and that's why we're having the zoning discussion. So what's your concerns about the change in the usage? Have you got a concern about it, or just the fact that the building went up the wrong?
No, and also. Like, that's a commercial building, okay? I don't care what any of you say, that's commercial business. When you get a 5-bay garage, that's pretty big business, right? You should pay commercial taxes, like everybody else does.
Okay, yep. Fine. Take that comment, yeah.
It should be zoned commercial. And on your picture here, you got the whole kit and caboodle. You see that? 23 some odd acres. It should be zoned just where the buildings are, what's commercial, and that should be separate.
Okay. And I accept Joe's comments, and we'll now we'll talk to the planners, we'll give their comments, and then we'll have a discussion. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Is that any other points you want to make?
No, it just not right the way
Okay.
they went about it, okay?
Right. Okay. Thank you.
And it's going to be more than tractors. I know it says tractors, but he's also a Cummins dealer now. It's going to be trucks, and there's a lot more Cummins motors in trucks than there is in tractors.
Yeah, if you can have a seat, and then if you want to have.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, town and middle staff, right?
Well, unless there's anyone else from.
Oh, is there anybody else? Sorry. Anybody else from the public wants to speak? Okay. Town and middle staff. Building inspector's assistance report. Yeah, come up at the same time, Curtis. I didn't know you were coming. I saw Linda here, and I just assumed you weren't coming. I even stroked your name off there, but I know put it back. Okay. Did you want to go first, Michelle?
No, actually.
Okay. Yep. Okay. More pertaining to Curtis's.
Yeah, the questions are pertaining more to a planning perspective,
Yep.
other than the fact that, yes, a driving shed is what the permit was issued for. I do not know the exact.
Okay. Thank you. Curtis.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge and councillors. Just a brief presentation.
Curtis, make sure you're under the mic, because otherwise we get
Stand up.
complaints from all our
Here,
fans out
I'll
there in
stand
the
here. There we go.
Whiteman world.
Taller standing.
Okay, let's see if that's
Perfect.
a little better. Okay.
Yep.
So just have a brief presentation on the application here tonight. So the property is designated prime agricultural in the county plan, and under both the provincial policy statement and county official plan policies, agriculture-related businesses are permitted in the prime agricultural area. And the businesses, the key thing is the businesses are have to be deemed to serve agriculture and need to be located within the agricultural area. So the property is zoned agricultural commercial, and there's a site-specific exception that applies to the property that limits the tractor repair business to a total of 8,000 square feet. I believe the existing building is a little under that 8,000 right now. So as mentioned, the applicant's proposing to convert the existing drive shed expansion, which is about 13,600 square feet, and convert that to be used as part of the tractor repair business. So the applicant would like a total approval of 22,000 square feet, and this would provide them with about 2,000 square feet for a future expansion for an office. So after reviewing the application, we have no further concerns. We have proposed to revise the agricultural commercial zone boundary as shown on the sketch we provided to fully include the repair shop building within that AC zone. So the AC zone, when it was set up 7 or 8 years ago, was intended to capture the farm building cluster, and that is still, and the bylaw was written to allow the agricultural commercial use as part of the commercial farm. So that still is the intent, and the bylaw still treats it that way. We've just proposing to clean up that boundary.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is different than the diagram I have on my program here.
Which one are you looking at?
So obviously I'm looking at the wrong diagram then. So, because on mine, that's what my question is. The back boundary line is, in my opinion, is way back too far to include too much agricultural land. So yours, as it shows there, just goes to the back of the building. Is that correct?
No.
Through the
You want to see
mayor,
mine?
councillor. Yeah, yes, I think I see it here on Michelle's application. So
You're looking at the towns, not the counties.
yeah, that's on the town report.
Okay, I've got the wrong one.
The county report.
So in our county report, we have this map here that's shown on the screen, and what we've proposed in the draft zoning bylaw is to match exactly what's shown on the screen here. So to pick up the building itself, and doesn't include the farm field in front of the building.
And so what's the blackened area?
Just a shadow.
It's just a
Shadow
shadow?
of the shed.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ron?
Agriculture commercial. He was talking about Cummings and that includes that with that. How do you after it's built, how do you keep up with what's to be built to commercial?
Through the mayor to Councillor Elliott. So as far as according to the application, as I understand it, is to remain agricultural equipment repair, so tractors and combines and related, and the bylaw is specific to limit it to that. So ultimately, if they did fix a truck or something beyond that, it would come down. I understand the town operates on a complaint basis, that there would have to be a complaint made and a then the town to enforce
Trucks
that.
are all part of agricultural now too anyway, so not necessarily, a lot of them, tractor trailers.
Is trucks in our? Would trucks be in our? I doubt it.
I'm saying.
You're saying farm equipment, right?
Well, we should ask George. You know, repair trucks. Repair trucks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michelle.
Mhm.
So the wording in the bylaws proposed is that the tractor and farm equipment repair shop not exceed a maximum ground floor area of 22,000 square feet. So if council did wish to clarify and permit trucks, that could be added to clarify that if that was how council wished to proceed.
Yep.
Then may I ask Mr. Weber that are you going to repair trucks in your shop?
You please come up.
Yeah, you better come up to the mic, George.
Yep.
To answer your question, we have no intentions to repair any kind of trucks. In fact, our own trucks, we sent them out to Minto Auto and Tividale. So currently.
All right.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
you're not requesting us to do that. So
No.
trucks are
No, I
okay.
have
So
no
then
interest in that.
eliminate. That's fine. And I think Curtis pointed out that if it's by complaint, our bylaw officer would go out if all of a sudden there was trucks being repaired or something, then the person could complain and we would go out and inspect and stop that if that was the case. Okay, thank you. Judy.
I just think it's important to note that this, repair shop that's there now is zoned agricultural commercial, and so that attracts agricultural commercial taxes. And it looks to me like the intent is to make that area larger to satisfy the needs of the business, and it will also be zoned correctly, and so then that will also continue to attract agricultural commercial taxes on a larger area.
Yes. And that's why I thought too, Judy. So it
Well,
doesn't.
there was a concern
Yeah, there's a concern about it being.
expressed, so I just
yeah,
wanted to,
no,
because we weren't saying that.
Yeah, but it will be a commercial, agriculture commercial tax base.
And just may I say that a lot of agricultural people have tractor trailers now, and they need them as part of their equipment. So maybe we should be looking at adding that to our agricultural. Because I know one farmer for sure has 3 tractor trailers.
Well, I think we'd have to come on if they want to come. Right now, the issue here is not going to be repairing trucks, so we don't need it on this one.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor Breach. I think it's a perfect spot. Sitting right there close to the other buildings, it's close to the road. It's not taking up huge spots in our industrial park. And so, I think it's a perfect spot for that. And employees that you're employing. So that's our mission. So congratulations and good luck.
Okay.
So now you.
Is there any other comments that anybody wants to make? We sort of, your concerns, have we kind of got to them a little bit about the trucks?
We can hardly hear you.
Sorry, is your concerns about the trucks been
Answered.
answered?
And if you can turn the picture back, where it was,
Yep.
there's another building.
Yep.
Up front, what's he doing with that?
This building right here.
That's the old office.
What's it? That used to be the shop.
Well, he's gone to a bigger shop because he needs to go to a bigger shop.
Well, what's going to happen to that building?
Look, my taxes went up in the last 2 years, $2,000. Okay.
Well, this will help your taxes because if we get more tax base, because it's going to grow the tax base.
It should be commercial.
It is commercial. It's agricultural. It's agricultural commercial. That's why we're.
Agriculture commercial is different thing than commercial. You should know that.
Well, but it's in an agricultural area. We allow agricultural commercial.
Okay.
You should go to the mic, sir.
Sir, yeah, please.
This agriculture commercial, okay, goes too far. That is a way to get out of taxes. I'm not complaining, but if you realize Minto is very high in taxes, if you looked at surroundings.
Well, we're not getting into a tax debate tonight. We're talking about a zoning issue.
Okay, all right, good. And it should be, it's a business. This tract is coming not from around here, from all over, because it's a 5-bay garage.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you. Okay. Oh, sorry. State your name, please.
Dan Sinclair,
I know Dan.
neighbor just down the road here from George. The whole agricultural commercial thing, I think he's doing a good thing. He's not trying to just run it through agricultural taxes. I have no issue with it. It's agriculture. He's fixing agricultural machinery. So I think it's a great thing.
And I think Councilor Turton pointed it out. We don't want to necessarily have tractors coming into an industrial park, but we haven't got enough land there already. We need to keep it where it is. So
I agree. I mean, my thing is I think he's doing the right thing there. Whereas I look at some things where you see farmers running around in town with tractors and buggies trying to run a commercial business in a town where they should be dump trucks. Like there's things like that we could talk about too. But what he's doing, I have no issue at all.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay. Where am I here, though? So I will state, if you're wishing to be notified of the decision of council in the town of Minto in respect to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application, you must make a written request to the clerk of the town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Harrison, NOG 10, or by email b@townofminto.on.ca. There's no further comments. I will adjourn the public meeting. Thank you for participating. Okay, one down, 3 to go. This next public meeting is to consider amendment to the town of Minto zoning bylaw number. What? I got the wrong one. Oh, sorry. Okay. I tried to jump to the end there. I don't know how I did that. The public meeting to consider the amendment of the town of Minto zoning bylaw number 0186 for the property located on 83 Elora Street, North Harrison, town of Minto. I'll act as chair of the public meeting. I'll call the meeting to order and request any member of the public present to please sign the attendance record. I will also state the following. If a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the town of Minto before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the town of Minto to the local planning appeal tribunal, and the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. I'll call on CEO Clerk White to state the municipal address and the legal description of the property and purpose affects the application and the date notice was sent.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. The subject property is located at 83 Elora Street North in Harrison. It's part lot 33. The proposed amendment rezones the property from low-density residential R1C to medium-density residential R2 to recognize the existing semi-detached dwelling 2 units on the subject lands. Other zoning relief may be considered for the proposal where appropriate. Notice was mailed to landowners within 120 meters of the lands and applicable agencies August 29th and posted on the subject property. Comments were received from the town of Minto staff and the County of Wellington planners, and both are here tonight, and their report is on your agenda. Thank you.
Would the planner and the town staff want to come up? Or the applicant first? Sorry.
The applicant here?
Is the applicant here? Yes, there they are. Calling you first.
Didn't think to ask myself that question. I just thought it was Keon.
Yeah, I was right here. I read that. Okay, please state your name.
My name is Jerry Fry on behalf of Keon Fry, the owner of the property. His voice has left him.
We left him today. That's all right. No problem. He's there right backing you up.
Thanks, Dad.
Just nod.
I'll poke you if you say
Do
something wrong.
you have any comments on the proposal, or?
Not a whole lot. We got possession of this property in August, and the property was already split into 2 apartments. We recognize it's a heritage building, and we're not planning on changing anything other than bringing the building to the required zoning for a dual dual residence.
Okay. If you want to take a seat, and then if there's questions, or do you have any questions for the applicants at this point? Okay, if you take a seat, and then we'll maybe just over here because there's more people coming up, maybe. And anybody wishing to comment in opposition, okay. Then maybe I have the our planner and our town Michelle up, and then there you go, Curtis. Who wants to lead on this one? You want to go first?
Yeah,
Michelle?
maybe sure.
Yeah.
I can go first, and then I'll hand it
Okay.
to Michelle.
All right.
Thank you again, Mayor and Councilors. So this is a fairly straightforward application. Subject property is located within the Harrison urban area and is designated residential. It's currently zoned low density residential in the R1C zone, which only permits single detached dwellings. So we have no concerns with the application. As mentioned, the existing home will be split, and I believe it's front to back. So one unit will be along Flora Street north and one at the rear of the property. And the units at this point are proposed to remain on one property under one ownership. And there appears to be adequate parking available on the site. So hand over to Michelle.
Thank you, Curtis. Just to clarify, we don't have any heritage housing, so that's not an issue or a concern for us. And just as it's simply been stated, the house is already in existence. We just simply need to change the zoning to allow it to continue as such. From the, building department perspective, it will require a building permit for fire separation and modifications to the dividing wall, and standard building permits and fees and development charges will be acquired at that time.
Perfect. Questions?
Mayor Bridge, at one point it was a duplex, am I correct? And it just, then it became a single family? Did they request a zoning change? Yes, so I just wondered why it was only zoned as a single residential.
I'm not sure what happened prior to that. Sorry.
You did it without asking.
Yeah.
Oh, the original duplex.
If I may have, I don't know the exact history, but it could have happened before the bylaw was passed many years ago, and it's just an existing use. Or it could also be converted as an apartment in a house. There's some legislation that sort of allows some of these to happen a little bit easier, but either way, we're going to get the correct zoning now, right?
Right. I think that's the good news. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. Anybody else in the public want to speak to this? No? Okay. And I will state that if you wish to be notified of the decision of the Council of the Town of Minto and request the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application must be written, make a written request to the clerk of Town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Harrison, NOG 1ZO, or email at bwhite@town.minto.on.ca. And now I have no further comments. I'll adjourn that meeting. Being that nice and gentle there for you.
Very good.
Okay, up next is the public meeting to consider the amendment of the Town of Minto bylaw number 0186 for the property located at 310 Queen Street South, Harrison, Town of Minto. I'll act as chair of the public meeting. I'll call the meeting to order to request any member of the public present to please sign the attendance record. I'll state the following: if a person or public body does not make oral submissions at a public meeting or make written submissions to the Town of Minto before the bylaw is passed, the person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of the Town of Minto to the local planning appeal tribunal, and the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal before the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there's reasonable grounds to do so. I'll turn it over to CEO Clerk White to state the municipal address, legal description of the property, and the purpose and effect of the application, and date notice were sent.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. The property subject of the amendment is located at Part Lot 7, Part Lot 8, South Side, Victoria Street, Morrison Survey, and the address is 310 Queen Street South, Palmerston. Is that right? Yeah.
Did I say Harrison?
No, it says Palmerston.
Oh, that's right.
The purpose and effect of the proposed amendment would rezone the proposed retained portion of the property to permit a reduced lot area and reduced rear yard and exterior side yard setbacks. And brackets existing single detached dwelling. The applicants have also requested to rezone the proposed severed parcel to permit a reduced lot area and reduced rear yard setback to facilitate the construction of a future single detached dwelling. This rezoning is a condition of severance application B57/18, which is being granted provisional consent by the Wellington County Land Division Committee. The consent will sever a vacant 416.9 square meter residential parcel. A 392.4 square meter residential parcel is retained. Notice was mailed to property owners within 120 meters of the property and applicable agencies and posted on the lands. Comments were received from the Town of Minto building assistant, the planners from the county. Both those reports are on your agenda. And the Upper Grand District School Board, who had no objections, advising that development charges will apply to the project.
Thank you. I'll call on the applicant. Dan, did you want to speak to it?
Yeah, so again, Dan Sinclair. Properties, being a developer in the community for over 20 years now, I understand the, that we don't have a lot of land left right now in the small communities. We're just our company's trying to maximize the use of all the lands. With these older properties, they've seemed to always shove the houses as tight as they can to one property line, making land available behind them. We all know in the town of Minto that right now that we're really pushing for seniors living and stuff like that. I'm actually in the middle of doing a lot of multi-res seniors developments, and this particular severed parcel, we're going to build around a 1,200 square foot bungalow, no basements. I actually have 3 seniors couples that would like to buy it because some of them still feel that they don't want to give their money away for rent. So anyway, it also I feel it also improves it improves everyone around it. It cleans it up. We've cleaned the old house up, and it helps generate more taxes for sure. So anyway,
thanks, Dan. If you want to take a seat, and then I'll ask anybody wishing to comment further in favor. Anybody in opposition of the proposed amendment? Okay. Then I will ask the building inspector and the planner to come up and give us their thoughts.
Through you, Mayor Bridge. Council has already approved the severance, and the conditions are well on their way of being met. This is simply one of those conditions that we put forward because the zoning that is in place, it does not meet the lot area and the rear yard setbacks. So staff did meet again, and the same comments were provided in the report, and we are in full support of the zoning amendment.
Curtis?
Okay. So the subject property is designated residential and is zoned R2 in the town's zoning bylaw. So we have no concerns with requested relief for the retained lot that contains the existing house. We note there's room for parking there and amenity space on the lot. And we have included a provision in the draft bylaw that would ensure that Queen Street remains as the front lot line for zoning purposes. Now, in regards to the new lot, we do recognize that the square shape of the lot and the lack of depth does pose a challenge in placing a dwelling and meeting the minimum zoning standards. This shape also limits the available amenity space in the rear yard. We note that consideration to impacts on neighboring properties should be considered when setbacks are being reduced. Now, in consideration of the neighboring properties, we have proposed in the draft bylaw that the dwelling be restricted to a one-story bungalow on the property. And the draft bylaw we've prepared does implement that provision. So, thank you.
And if I'm right, Dan, that's what you said you're building. Okay. All right. No, and we really need that type of housing. Certainly for our seniors, because they want one floor, and you're right, not all of them want to rent. They want to retain some ownership. So it's a good usage. Any questions for anybody? Oh, great. All right. I'll state if you wish to be notified of the decision of Council of the Town of Minto in respect to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application, you must make a written request to the clerk of the Town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Harrison, NOG 10, or email at bwhite@town.minto.on.ca. No further questions. I'll declare that closed. Source water is the next one. Public meeting to consider the amendment of Town of Minto zoning bylaw number 0186, property located within the Town of Minto. I'll act as the chair of the public meeting. I'll call the meeting to order to request any member of the public present to please sign the attendance record book. I'll state as follows. Person or public body does not make oral submissions at the public meeting or make written submissions to the Town of Minto before the bylaw is passed. The person or public body is not entitled to appeal the decision of Town of Minto to the local planning appeal tribunal, and the person or public body may not be added as a party to the hearing of the appeal for the tribunal unless, in the opinion of the board, there are reasonable grounds to do so. CAO Clerk White to state the municipal address and legal description of the property and the purpose and effect of the application. Date notice is sent.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. The property subject to the proposed amendment is located primarily within the urban areas of the town, relating to the 4 municipal water systems. I guess it includes the sewer water system,
yes,
as well. Adding the purpose of the proposed amendment is to bring the Minto zoning bylaw into conformity with the Maitland Valley and Saugeen Valley source protection plans by adding the Maitland Valley and Saugeen Valley wellhead protection area overlays to maps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, adding provisions that any use that is or would be a significant drinking water threat is required to conform with all policies of the applicable source protection plan, revising section 6.35.2 restricted uses to update the wording and to conform with the Saugeen Valley source protection plan significant threat policies on waste disposal, and including new definitions as needed. Notice was placed in the Wellington Advertiser on August 23rd, and comments were received from Linda Redmond, who is the director.
Yes, director. Yeah, right there. It says
Planning and County of Wellington.
Manager.
Her report.
Planning.
I'd hold out for a pay raise.
Manager.
They send you rates.
That was all the comments we received.
Okay. All right. Questions?
My question is, has this changed substantially from the original discussion that we had back when the requirement first came out for this? Because I remember discussing this at length. Have the boundaries changed that much on that? And because
we have the experts here to confirm, but those are more or less the boundaries you saw. But what we're doing is putting them in the zoning bylaw.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, and the policies to implement.
Does somebody want to speak to that? Linda, do you want to come up? You drove all the way up here.
I know, and I just drove up here to introduce Kyle Davies. He's going to speak on behalf of this report because actually it was one of the last things Mark Powley did before he left. So working with Kyle. So I'm going to let Kyle address it.
He's the expert, I know. Nice to see you, Kyle.
Yes. Thank you, Mayor Bridge, members of council. Thank you, Linda. Through you, Mr. Mayor, to answer Councillor Faulkner's, Deputy Mayor Faulkner's question. Yes, the areas that you see on the overlay represent, they have not changed from the source protection mapping that you saw previously. However, they're just an outline and what it is to the 5-year time of travel. So the wellhead protection area C. So there is sometimes a larger line, a 25-year time of travel that you see on some maps. The reason that's not in the zoning is because there's no policy requirements within the 25-year time of travel. So the policy requirements are limited to the areas that you see on the zoning overlay maps.
I guess my comment would be, it would have been nice to compare before to now.
Well, it hasn't changed.
That
Okay.
I think it has.
Back 8 years.
Yeah. Okay.
You're way back.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Mayor Bridge, if I may. So what this matches up to is the approved wellhead protection areas that are in the Maitland Valley Source Protection Plan. Correct. So there may very well have been some different sizes previously, but that's not what was in the approved by the province. So what this reflects is the approved wellhead protection areas from the source protection plan, which was then translated into the official plan, the county official plan, which was done in 2016, and now it's a requirement to show that overlay in the zoning bylaw. But there very well may have been changes from the earliest.
Yeah. Maybe someone here.
There might be someone. Does anybody want to speak in favor of the proposal? Ron, sorry, your comment?
Just within that protection area, there's restrictions of what's going to be allowed within those blue zones. Is that the correct idea? What's supposed to happen, and restrictions will change within that blue?
Yes, through you, Mr. Mayor. What that represents is the area within the town where there could be restrictions related to source protection. However, the mapping that Deputy Mayor Faulkner was referring to shows the vulnerable scores, which then the red, the oranges, and the yellows, which then delineate where actually requirements are. So then, what this does is it's a mechanism to allow applicants to see it's in the zone where it is in the zoning bylaw, and then it puts it over to a screening process that municipal staff do, and then if need be, then myself or the other risk management official for the town will look at it.
So the color zone would be where they would look at it right away before they went at a gas station or whatever.
Yes, that's correct. Through you, Mayor Bridge, depending on what the activity is or what the land use is, but you look at activity. So if it's a gas station versus a residential property, and whether it's in a red zone, an orange zone, a yellow zone, would depend on whether or not it has any requirements under the source protection plan. Typically, residential properties do not.
Any other questions? And anybody in opposition to the proposal? Okay, then I will state that anyone wishes to be notified of the decision of the Council of the Town of Minto in respect to the proposed zoning bylaw amendment application must make a written request to the clerk of the Town of Minto at 5941 Highway 89, Harrison, NOG 1ZO, or by email Bill White at town.minto.on.ca. Closed. And moving along. Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner and seconded by Councillor Anderson. The Committee of Whole convenes in the Committee of Adjustment. All in favor? Put your adjustment hats on. Right.
Backwards.
Have you got one? Has he got it? I thought no. Okay.
It's a big hat.
Okay. So this is for a minor variance application file number MV 2018-06 grind, deferred on September 4th, 2018. I'll call the public hearing to order and publicly state any decision reached by this committee today cannot be used to set a precedent. Each application considered by the committee is dealt with on its own merits, with no two applications that are exactly the same. The public hearing is to further consider the minor variance application file number MV 2018-06 grind. Report Wellington Senior Planner Curtis Marshall, and I'll call upon the applicant or agent to make comments, followed by comments by the county. So there he is, right there. Welcome.
Mayor, council, applicant.
Well, you put state your name too, just for the record.
Nigel Grind.
No.
2 weeks ago, I was here and I deferred my original application on Curtis Marshall's recommendation. He felt that my garage was encroaching too close to the neighbor's lawn, and he suggested a different location for it. So now we think it's better that we put it to the other side of my house, and I want a 10-foot encroachment on my side yard for that. It was also his suggestion that we could maybe do a 7.5 sight line reduction. I did stake it out, measure it. An 8-meter one would be significant enough. Even a 9-meter with the garage, and then I'd have the 18 feet for a vehicle. So if it was a car, it would be past that 18 feet. So that's pretty much it.
All right, thanks. Just to have a seat, and then in case there's any more questions. Curtis, did you want to?
Thank you, Chair and committee members. So I don't have much more to add. Planning staff's concerns have been addressed with the relocation of the garage. As mentioned, we recommended that the daylight triangle, which is basically an open sight line at the corner of the property, be reduced down to 7.5 meters by 7.5 meters. So from my perspective, that could remain and be reduced. So it essentially allows more room for parking a car without being in that. Well, it is imaginary, but it's in the bylaw sight line on the corner there. So,
any questions?
Mayor Bridge, as the meeting was deferred last time, we did give notice of deferral to, I believe, one person had signed the attendance record. So they did not speak at the public hearing, but I believe they are here.
Yes. Yes, I didn't see you over there. Sorry.
With the consent of the chair, I guess if they wish to speak tonight.
Would you like to speak? Okay. Had you tucked in that corner there. I saw you earlier. That's all right. Just state your name.
So I'm Catherine Lawrence, and my residence is 176 Webb Street, which is the rear side of the lot. So after the September 4th deferral meeting, Terry Kuipers had contacted me to ask me what my concerns were with the original plan.
Right.
And I did identify that my concern was drainage. In order to put that much mass bulk, whether it was mass bulk to my rear setback, to his rear setback, or even to the garage, I was concerned with the drainage. We're zoned residential R1B there, and I'm on the flood zone. So my property sits higher than Mr. Grimes, and at the current time, we already have a drainage issue. So Nigel already currently drains to the southwest corner of his property, which means it's draining to the north side of my property. So in order to raise grade for those two additions, how do we deal with an already water issue? So I did ask Terry to provide me with what would be a grading and a drainage plan to alleviate those issues. The increase in the foundation, I did ask for the property size. In an R1B, we do have 40% lot coverage, and I do not have that information with the two additions as to what the lot coverage is. The building lot percentage. My concern is that typically in a swale, if you were to swale the way it is now, Mr. Grimes sits below street grade at the back, at the front and the side property, so both at Pellister and Webb, which means that he has to drain back to me, and that's going to my foundation footprint, which means the drainage becomes my issue. So I did talk to Terry about that. There is in the county PPS, there is information on the flood zone that I did review. I do note that Nigel himself is not in that, but he does sit much lower than me, who is in the flood zone. To discuss the site triangle, the purpose of the site triangle is to prevent an accident at an intersection and to ensure that motorists and pedestrians have the proper sight to ensure that there is no risks. I'm concerned with small children of my own, plus Mr. Grimes, that reducing that site triangle is putting people at risk, including my own children. I know it's only 5 feet, but 5 feet is a difference between a motorist seeing a child and not. The proposal was to put the garage to the Webb Street side of the property. My concern with that is that there may be a space for a car, but it does not prevent somebody from even parking in the 7.5 reduced site triangle. So to me, that's a safety issue. The request for the street side setback is greater than 50% of the current bylaw. So in my opinion, that's not a minor variance, that's pretty major. It does, again, decrease the amount of lot that can drain and saturate the water. It also would require the removal of 2 trees full mature trees, which does decrease the saturation of water already existing on the property. Having that addition there, when I built the house 15 years ago, my frontage had to match the side wall of what is now Mr. Grimes' property, so it does change the streetscape as well, which is a concern for me. I'm not much of a public speaker. So it does include a rear setback. So it also includes on the red dotted area for the 2-story addition. It does also require a setback of just shy of the 25% into my side yard. So it's asking for the three variances. I did review the county note for this amendment. It noted that, as I mentioned before, that the applicant indicated that there was enough space for a parking spot, but that was neither confirmed by the county to ensure that it doesn't impose even on the reduced site triangle, and that the movement of the garage alleviated the adjacent homeowners' concerns, which it did not, because my primary concern is water. So you add increased roof, you add increased grade, and I think that without having a grade and a drainage engineer determine that you can actually take that amount of water, it's a concern for us as homeowners adjacent to the property.
Questions for the questions? Stated your opinions very well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very well done.
Do we have a?
Oh, Mayor Bridge, I have two. If there's no further questions, clarifications from the planner. Or
I have questions. They just weren't for Kathy.
Oh.
I'm not understanding why we're shrinking that daylight corner, unless we're anticipating that cars are going to be parked outside of the garage rather than in the garage. Because I have concerns about that too. We have some corners in town where you cannot see. You're halfway into the intersection in order to see cars coming. And in an area where there are small children, I don't understand the need for that. And we have looked at this property, and it is really low. So I could see neighbors' concern, and I know it's addressed that it will be satisfied with the building permit. But I'm wondering if the neighbors could be consulted at the same time if it's going to be impacting their drainage, because wet basements and drainage are a great big issue for everybody. And that's a really low piece of property. The drain out on the street is like 10 feet above the foundation of the house. But I'm not sure how it drains or what our plan would be to have it drain properly.
Curtis? To the corner and whatever James' concerns are there.
Thank you, Chair. So in regards to the daylight triangle, so the idea from the reduction would be to ensure that a car isn't parked. It would provide more flexibility for parking on the site. And it's something that going forward we'd be considering in changing in the comprehensive zoning bylaw. So that's where that 7.5 has come from. So it'd be something we'd be likely recommending as part of the update to the bylaw to reduce that number more in keeping with today's standard. So in terms of the 9 meters, if the applicant can provide it, then I would say then if the committee wishes to, then that it doesn't need to be reduced. So essentially with the daylight triangle, as I said, it is, and as discussed, it's to provide sight lines at the corner. Ultimately, again, it would come down to a compliance issue if someone, regardless of the reduction or not, did park at the corner blocking view or constructed a fence or something else that blocked that view, that would be dealt with through compliance. Now the second question about drainage, that might be better for Terry, but as I understand it, and maybe Michelle needs to jump in, but as I understand that there would be a drainage plan would be required as part of the building permit and reviewed by the building department to address those concerns. So that beyond that, I probably can't.
No, I
answer
think
anymore.
you answered that well, Chris. I mean, before we do an actual building permit, would have to be a site and a drainage plan involved.
So my one question was the drainage was part of it. Is that part of the Barber drain?
Never worked.
Through the chair, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
so where to Ms. Lawrence? Where does her property? I'm assuming that there's a drainage tile goes from the back of her property over to some municipal drain. Sure, I would like to hear that.
Well, you only have to live in Palliser Street to know the Barber Drain. I know it, so.
So the drain starts at the catch basin, which is on my property. And it does not sit anywhere near Nigel's house. It's actually behind Wick's.
Yeah, but where's it drain to?
It drains to, so in behind me, along in between the houses between Webb and John, and it goes out to...
Goes south?
Correct. To the end where John used to end before the new development.
For sure.
Right?
That should address that.
That isn't the Barber Drain, though.
No, that's not the Barber Drain. No.
So the catch basin's on my property, so the southwest corner, his water would have to drain to my property in order to reach that catch basin.
Okay, thank you. That answers my question. And then my second question is in respect to the 9 meters, the 7.5. I'm assuming that's there so nobody parks a vehicle there. And that at no time can you plant a bush or tree or anything like that. So the driveway for the garage coming off of Webb Street, okay? So I'm assuming that is X number of feet. Is that part of the variance where X number of feet from that 9 meters?
Just in response to...
The driveway does come off of Webb Street. Am I assuming that correctly?
Maybe if I'll approach the mic or the screen there.
Yep.
Take a mic.
Well, it should.
Very
it can't
close.
come off of Palliser.
Yes. It doesn't come off Palliser.
Sure. It's got to come off Webb Street.
You know.
The current driveway is located on Palliser, and it's shared with
Correct. The current
neighbor.
one is. Yeah.
So the proposal for the new driveway would be again off of Palliser, and a new single car garage attached to the house that would be single story. And I do believe that my recollection is that there was and maybe Michelle jump in if I'm wrong here, that there was a discussion with the roads department that a driveway would be acceptable in that location. So
but if you got a driveway there, how are you going to prevent a vehicle from being parked there?
So what we've identified in the original application was on the sketch showing that initially there was a 5.5 meter by 2.8 meter parking spot in our original report. We did illustrate that there appeared to be room for a parking spot in accordance with the zoning bylaw. So that's being said without the benefit of a survey, but based on the numbers provided from the applicant.
Wouldn't it solve things better if you made the driveway off of Webb Street?
But you can't park in
I
the car.
know
You
that.
can't turn
I
to get
know
into
that.
Yeah, no.
the garage. How do you get in there?
And off of Webb Street.
But you can't go in the end of your.
garage.
You gotta go in the
You
end.
have to go down there.
You don't swing the other way.
I'll tell you. I don't
Anyways,
like
Nigel, can I ask you? I think you did say, and if I wrote it down right, would you please come up? And I think Curtis mentioned it. Are you able to do 9 meters?
8 meters.
8 meters. Okay.
8 meters.
Okay.
It was
That's 24 feet.
your suggestion, you and Terry, that I move the garage to the side.
Right.
And there was a suggestion of 7.5.
Right.
And I staked it out, and I have to have an 18 feet from the front of the garage for my parking spot. And at 8 meters, I have 18 feet.
Yeah, and that's
to
why
the
I
corner.
thought, okay, so it still shouldn't obstruct that
It's
corner,
a 0.5 meter.
even if you have a car parked
Yeah. So nothing. This hasn't been discussed, but it's gonna be too wide. I have two vehicles. So the one's gonna be coming in to the garage will be longer, and then I'll have a shorter one to the side. And I have two vehicles, so the one will be parked in the garage or in that 18 feet, and then the car will be well within that. As of right now, sharing the driveway. If anybody's seen it, the end of my driveway is a drop. My driveway is about 2 feet above my foundation level, and I can't even park two vehicles in it. So as of right now, I park my truck on the road, and it is in that triangle right now.
Right.
So it would literally be safer for me to park in that driveway.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay. Any other questions, Ron?
This could be a question for anyone. I believe drainage is one of the first things they take care of before you are allowed to build anything. So my assumption would be that Terry wouldn't allow this to move forward unless he felt the drainage was in the correct.
That's
like it wouldn't flood an area. I believe that's fairly specific in what they have to do. You fellas would know better because of what you do in building. That you'd have to have that drainage that wouldn't flood into a neighbor's place, and if it ever did, then it would be the fault of our experts, supposedly.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Further comment on it, or yeah, sure.
What's the sister?
I am. I'm Crystal Heenan. Okay. Hello, Mr. Bridge. And I live at 184 Webb Street, which is beside my sister's at 176. Just to add with the drainage, on that block, there is a drainage pipe that goes the back of that on both sides, John Street and Pellister Street. There's the storm drain that is at Callie's behind Wicks. But all properties on that, except for my own and my sister's, and Norm Fisk many years ago told my father this, that drainage pipe is not like it's a solid pipe, meaning that in order to properly drain our eaves, troughs, that kind of thing, we dug into that, or we put our big O's into that drainage pipe. No one else on that block has. And so more drainage will mean more water that not only myself, but Kathy, but also myself will be running through our sump pump. The other thing I'd like to point out is kitty corner to that corner is a bus stop with, I'm not sure how many children that get picked up there. There's several children in the duplex kitty corner. Being that there's a lot of children converging in that area, that concerns me. And as a teacher, I know how well children listen, and I'm sure many of you as parents know how well they listen. And it's dangerous. Even more encroachment on a sight line like that is not good, especially because there's no sidewalk on the Webb Street on our side of the street either. So, thank you.
Anything else? Jean?
The drainage is, like, I don't understand how it's going to drain. The proper, like, it's concave. It hollows down. Anything coming off that roof. Like, do you guys have a wet basement? Do you have a sump pump that goes all the, because the water must come off your roof and, yeah.
Jean. Yeah, like the drainage issue will be discussed at this when we actually get the building permit. They have to do it there. I don't know if we can half of you're right, half of Harrison's in a drainage.
Right, but as part of that, an objection to the minor variance that are being requested, it's my right to
Oh yeah.
to indicate that drainage is an issue to the variance.
Yeah. No. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I would, yes. But again, do you understand that it will have to be dealt with by doing the building issue and
I get that, but when you're looking at a minor variance, it's part of the objection is how that drainage will impact adjacent neighbors.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Mayor Bridge, if I may, I think everyone's made their points on drainage. I think I have two decisions drafted up for council. One would be to deny the application, and there's reasons for denying if council chooses or committee chooses to do that. And that was that the variance was not minor nor desirable for the appropriate development of the land and does not maintain the intent and purpose of the official plan or zoning bylaw. It's also a decision that if committee wishes to approve the application, that they do believe that the variance is minor, desirable for the appropriate development of the lands, and maintains the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw and official plan. Might I suggest, if you are considering approving the variance, that you do two things. One, that you do not allow a reduction of the daylight triangle to 7.5 meters by 7.5 meters. You reduce it to 8 meters by 8 meters, or don't reduce it at all, whatever you wish to do. But I think the applicant said he could live with 8 meters by 8. And that you add as a condition of the variance that a grading and drainage plan acceptable to the town be provided as a condition of the variance. So if that is not provided to the town's satisfaction, then the variance is not approved.
Like that.
Add that as a condition. So those
Sounds
are the two
perfect.
decisions. It would be a motion of the committee whether they wish to deny the application based on what they've heard tonight, or whether they wish to approve the application. Or if you want to give a deferral and have everybody talk about it a little bit more, that would be the other option. So.
Okay. Huh?
I would make a motion that we approve it with those conditions on it.
Second that.
Mayor Faulkner, all in favor of that?
So Mayor Bridge, if
Wait
I
a
may
second
just
now.
read it. The Committee of Adjustment approves the application by Nigel Grant for the property described at 31 Pellister to allow construction of a residential addition with a rear yard setback of 5.8 meters, an exterior side yard setback of 2.74 meters, and a reduction to size of daylight triangle of 8 meters by 8 meters, subject to the applicant providing a grading and drainage plan acceptable to the town of Minto. That's a condition.
Yep. Voting on that. Oh, no, we haven't voted. All in favor of that? Good.
So Mayor Bridge, if I may, I'll send the decision around, and you would only sign if you were in favor of that decision.
So the Town of Minto Committee of Adjustment approves the application by Nigel Grind for the property legally described as Part Lot 6 SS Webb Street, municipally owned as 31 Pallister Street West, Harrison, Town of Minto, to allow the construction of residential addition with a rear yard setback of, and what was it?
2.74.
2.74. Yeah, 2.74, and the reduction of size of the daylight triangle to of 7.5.
That's 8 meters by
8 meters now, right? 8 meters. Okay, and do we add that term?
A grading and drainage plan be provided to the satisfaction of the town.
The drainage and
Condition.
drainage should be satisfactory to the town. Okay. And anyone wishing to receive a copy of the notice of decision, please sign the request of notice decision prior to leaving the council chamber the following meeting. Thank you. So that revised one will be there for you to pick up. Okay. I'll adjourn that meeting. Everybody. Moved by Councilor Dirksen, second by Councilor Turton. The Committee of Adjustment convenes the Committee of the Whole. All in favor? Public question period. Correspondence received for information requiring direction of council.
Mayor Bridge, if I may, one item of correspondence I would ask council consider pulling and passing a resolution. That is the Cup W Fighting for Good Jobs and Better Service. That relates to the possibility of a postal strike. The two parties have been negotiating, I gather, and September 26th has been set as a potential lockout or strike date. I would ask council to consider a motion that they receive the correspondence and that they ask the two parties to defer any lockout or strike till after the municipal election, October 22nd. I don't want to even ever lead you to believe that that's likely to happen, but might as well add our voice to the discussion. And you copy that into your MP, John Nader. I know he has been contacted by those of us in Wellington County and others who are doing vote by mail. And obviously, if they all head out on strike on September 26th or they're locked out and our ballots are to come in, then we could be at an issue. So Mr. Nader has advised he doesn't think that they're going to go out on the 26th, that it may be some time before that. We're making efforts to move our ballot mail out earlier so that at least we get the ballots out to the public. And then if they do go on strike while ballots are coming in, we would make it clear on how and when people can bring their ballots to us. So we already have expanded voting options. People can drop our ballots off at our community centers and so forth, and at our senior centers. We would be publicizing that even greater if they happen to go out. But I think a resolution asking them to defer any action, either lockout or strike, till after October 22nd would be appropriate, and that we would copy our MP in on that.
So you want to move that? Councillor Caldwell.
I'll second.
Burton, all in favor?
And the other one on the paramedic service, that really isn't a municipal issue, a Minto issue, and the fire chief suggested that we just receive that one.
So do I motion to receive the rest of the correspondence? Councillor Anderson, Councillor Crookston, all in favor? Okay. And now we're at minutes. James Way Board minutes. Any questions on it? Anything you want?
Clarification. No things. It's a well-run building, operating smoothly, no issues.
Good.
They had a vacancy, they filled it again.
Perfect. You want to move that? Okay.
Sure.
Moved by Jean, seconded by Dave. All in favor? Okay. Next up is Cultural Roundtable minutes. Linda?
I'll be very brief. There's lots of people waiting for stuff. So just some highlights from the Cultural Roundtable is next weekend is Culture Days. So within your minutes is the full schedule of events happening next weekend. Everything is free and it's a cross Canada event. We have board roles and responsibilities training taking place October 10th, and we've partnered with the Wellington North Culture Roundtable on this event. Working with a lot of community groups in the committee, it's become I guess noticeable that there's a lot of people, great volunteers getting into positions and not really understanding what those roles and responsibilities are of being on a board. So we're just trying to educate people on that session. That's that. Coming up October 20th is our Spark event. So Treasurer Duff and Taylor have been working hard with a committee of our Culture Roundtable people planning this. It's a full day event and hopefully drawing people from across Ontario. We are busy planning all of the holiday promotions and activities. So there's a full week there in the middle of November. Please mark your calendars. It's going to be a busy month. And the Culture Roundtable made a motion at this meeting that they will be approving $1,000 from the Event Development Fund to allocate to the Clifford Light Up the Street event on November 15th. So that will help us plan a large variety of activities. And by then, the Clifford Main Street will be open. I think that's all I want to highlight out of these minutes. If there's any questions?
Questions?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Bridge. Belinda, I just wanted to say that the Cool Cones project with the Canada Packers reunion and all the folks that did come back, they were all really excited about it and they thought it was cool.
It was very cool.
So,
cool cones. Play on words there.
I pass that along to you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
For you and the rest of the folks that come up with the idea was good.
Yeah, it was a very successful initiative, and we're actually looking at doing something similar in Palmerston next year with a train theme, so stay tuned. Alrighty. Do you want me just to go on to Ec Dev? Okay.
Did we have, actually we have to approve those, so do you want to do them all at once?
I do those.
Do those. Okay. Moved by Jean. Sure. Second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. All in favor?
Yep, so for economic development, the presentation that we provided to you guys, our year in review, we gave that to our economic development committee, and of course they were impressed. And as we know, workforce, immigration, and affordable housing are really key topics in economic development, not just for our area, but many areas. And coming up on November 30th at Blue Mountain, there's a regional forum that's being hosted by several of our area counties. And we'll be attending as part of our Saugeen Connects group. Employers are welcome to come to this event and find out about hiring immigrant workers. There's a special session the night before about affordable housing and different models, and that's a key piece as well. So just wanted to point that out if anyone was interested. Our Filipino Association has started, and you can check out their Facebook page, and we will be launching a campaign the end of this month to attract more Filipinos to the community, and we're really excited to be working with that group. We also hosted our newcomer welcome reception last Thursday with the Palmerston Downtown Revitalization Committee. It was a huge success. Nothing but positive feedback on that, and we will be looking to do that in the other urban centers as well. So watch for that in 2019. What else do I want to tell you? Structural grant. Yep. So the committee, out of all of our community improvement grant funds, we only have about just shy of $2,700 left. And Brent Lavallee has purchased the property, Don Medill's former building in downtown Palmerston, which is across the street from the Norgan and across the street from CIBC Bank. It had all the murals on the side. So he's totally gutting that building. He's spending over $200,000 to do so, adding an addition, which will create 4 single apartments, as well as an office space and a commercial space. So we only have a little bit of money left, and this really could qualify for more in a normal year. But we are recommending that he gets paid the full amount. This committee is. And further to that, I don't think anybody can deny the impact that the structural grant has had on our downtowns. A block full of buildings in Palmerston are under construction, going to create affordable apartments and commercial units for businesses. And with the population growing, we're going to need that space. So there's no denying that this grant has made a difference in our downtowns. So I just want to think back a few years ago when people were wanting us to do something about our downtowns, buy the buildings ourselves, all that stuff. This is a bit of a soapbox of mine, so buy the buildings ourselves, renovate them ourselves, and the work that these property owners are doing and investors coming into our community and creating the things that they're creating in their spaces is amazing. And so our committee, which is made up of business leaders in our community, recognize this as well. And so they put forth the motion that council, the future council, consider maintaining the community improvement plan funding in 2019. So just putting that out there. And the other thing I wanted to note, we had 6 downtown minutes within this, and one of those was from the Palmerston Downtown Revitalization Committee. And there was a recommendation within that requesting that the town of Minto sweep the streets once a month during the summer. And I don't know, Councillor Elliott, if you wanted to add anything more about that, but it has been a long-standing issue, particularly in Palmerston, with concerns around that. And I had taken pictures, and they're within your minutes, so you can see that as well. Do you want to add anything, Councillor Elliott?
Yeah, I think Paul Brown was the one that continues to bring it forward, but he does speak on behalf of most of the committee that are downtown. And what he was saying, and made a good point. We have no concerns from Harrison to bring forward anything, but he did make a point that they're on a hill, and when it rains and whatever, everything, all the dirt and stuff washes down to the bottom. So everything, we're in Palmerston, everything's flat. And if you take a look at your pictures, you can see that the dirt just lays there. And with all the building and construction that's going on, that
It adds to
we were
it.
talking about, it adds to it. I mean, there's dust and such like that daily goes on. Now that our construction people are doing a pretty good job of sweeping the sidewalks, but it does get into the gutters and such like. So this is maybe an extraordinary year for that, or even next summer would be extraordinary, but he has got a good point on what should be done. And it was a suggestion brought forward. I know I'm not sure what the cost would be, but if he did bring forward too, if we expect people to stop and shop in our communities, that our streets and such like should be clean, and that is a very good point. So the committee did agree with them.
And the Economic Development Committee supported that as well. So just wanted to make note because there was 6 other sets of minutes included in this, so I didn't want that to be lost. That's all.
Any questions? Just a comment on your point about the our fund. I totally agree with that, obviously, and I know this council has supported that from day one and have seen the results. Because again, people think back, and what you talked about was they want us to buy the old post building, and so that was a big major investment by an individual there. Of course, we had the one in Palmerston was a tax situation, which would have cost us an arm and a leg to tear down. We managed with a few dollars to allow that person to take that on as well. And at the county level, now we're looking at it at the county level. And today I was just talking, and I can't get into too much detail, but the new CIP at the county level is going to be help to enhance us on this with maybe some loans that might be at a lower rate that they may be able to do. So it's just a win-win for everybody when you get individuals that are doing it rather than the town trying to do it as a government. And I really applaud this council for their dedication to put that dollars in there 4 years ago, and it's all gone. That's good, because that means it's all
quickly
working.
In 2017, if I remember, I did it before. We gave out $164,000 in grants, but those property owners spent over $500,000 just on the elements that were eligible within our program. 2 of those buildings have spent over $500,000 each on those buildings. Yes. So like the return investment is huge. So,
and now we're getting businesses in them and
attracting businesses, getting apartments that we desperately need. Yeah.
Councilor Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Member Rich. In reference to cleaning the downtown once a month might be a little bit of a stretch, but I know that our guys are managing and monitoring the dirt downtown. And I mean, if there is issues where it needs to be cleaned up more than once or twice a year, I'm talking about sweeping the streets, then it's something that we need to talk about. For sure. I mean, you have 3 downtown revitalization committees working very well, and when there's issues downtown, we need to talk about them. So we'll certainly take that back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. And up next, staff reports. Oh, motion on the minutes. Can I have motion? Deputy Mayor Faulkner, Councilor Elliott, all in favor? Okay. Staff reports. Fire Chief. Here he comes. Welcome, Chris. Yes. Oh, sorry. Deputy Mayor will take this over. You got this?
I got this.
Okay.
I'll be really brief. We're recruiting.
Yeah. Sign up.
Excellent.
Not so fast.
Is there an age limit?
Yeah.
Not so fast.
You can
Chief.
see our ad on our website. Monday night is the recruitment night to come out and get all the information you need on how to apply and who can apply and what's involved and all that stuff. So Monday night, 7 o'clock at the Hairston Hall. We have 35 to 38 pre-registered already.
Wow.
So we're looking for many more who wants to come out. So.
Wow.
Mr. Deputy Mayor?
Yes.
Just wanted to point out what the Fire Chief just said. And that isn't about the number of applicants already pre-registered. Almost 3 times the number of spaces. That's not the case with every volunteer fire department.
No.
So that's only happening because of the way that department is run and what council offers them. So.
Thank you for that comment, and council echoes that, Chief. And good luck in your recruitment. I know, having been through interviewing of literally many applications for a few spots is a very difficult task indeed, and good luck to you and your staff for doing that.
Thank you.
Motion? You have to do it.
Yes.
Motion to approve the report. Councillor Turton, Councillor Dirksen, all in favor? Don't interrupt again.
Well, I was just told you were slacking. Okay. Thanks for bringing it back to me. Okay, so back to you.
Back to you and Michelle.
Michelle, please.
Sorry.
Hey, Michelle, you're busy tonight.
We are. Got lost there for a moment. So through you, Mayor Bridge, the purpose of this application is to allow the reconfiguration of the lots to legally split the parcel into two separate lots with distinct separate ownership. This parcel has come through for minor variance. It was sold with the intention to be able to create a semi on there. It is complete and all of their building permits have taken place. This is really the final step for them to be able to severance up the lot as it is. The town only has financial considerations to take into place.
Questions? Motion?
I'll make the motion.
Burton, Caldwell, all in favor? Still up. With one more. Michelle, are you still up?
Give another one.
Are you?
Just actually going to ask Curtis.
Oh, Curtis is doing this one? Okay.
Well, to speak.
All right. Thanks. Sorry. Linda. Or Linda's doing this one. Oh my gosh.
Someone.
There was a reason.
Okay. County comments, Linda.
Hey, Linda.
So I'm just going to speak to the county comments, not the township comments.
Okay.
So this application, the county has asked for a deferral. During the review of this application, it came to light that perhaps there was a better way to configure the property so that there'd be less need for so many variances on the site. So we wanted to have an opportunity to talk to the applicant to see if we could make some changes to the single family lot as well as the lot that's being proposed for a multi residential development to the rear, so that we could reduce the number of variances and also perhaps make the retained lot that has the dwelling on it now, give it a bit more room. So that's why we're asking for deferral, and perhaps we can address these matters prior to it coming to land division, and then it won't hold it up any longer. I understand that the applicant has been in touch with the county planning department and is open to sitting down and looking at alternative configurations to better accommodate the proposal, and we're happy to do that at any point in time.
Questions?
Our next, if I may, through you, our next council meeting is October 2nd. Would we be ahead of land division then?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, we will be.
So, Mayor Bridge, if I may suggest, it probably wouldn't be appropriate to comment on the application as it stands if it's going to be revised. So I suggest we table it until it comes back, or
I would make a motion that we defer till October 2nd meeting. We have more information.
The comments are due though for I think I don't want you to miss the opportunity to comment though before the due date. If the plan is changed.
But will we not see the plan again? What we're saying is we'll have a chance to see the plan again on October the 3rd or 2nd or whatever it is.
So my suggestion would be that you provide a recommendation at this point in time, and then when it comes back on the 2nd, you can always modify that recommendation. The problem is the meeting is the 9th.
Right.
So if we make a recommendation blindly on not knowing what the new revised, that's difficult to do.
Well, unless you make a recommendation to defer it until to have the applicant revise it.
We would like to see it move forward too, right? Is that what you're
Correct. So if they do, this recommendation would move forward, and then when they come on the 2nd, you can amend your recommendation. You can send a new recommendation to the county saying that you've had an opportunity to review it and you're now in support of the amended application, because he will have to amend it. So that will come before the Land Division Committee, the amended one, and then you can comment on that.
Okay.
But
So
if nothing happens between now and that meeting,
if we weren't happy with it after the fact, we still have a chance to comment on it.
absolutely, yep.
Okay. So we'll just do the recommendation that's there, right? And I guess my comment was, this is the type of housing we want to have.
Yes.
I mean, it is what we're trying to do to get the density up.
Right.
So it's just a matter of, Linda, you're thinking of, with the applicant, working it a little bit to get it better on the lot somehow.
Well, correct. So do you have the survey sketch that you could bring up, Annalene? Oh, Bill's doing it. I thought it was
Bill's doing that. Yeah, Bill's got
I thought it was always you doing it. Isn't that funny? So there's the lands to be retained right at the corner where the existing dwelling is located.
Right.
And then the severed land adjacent to it, they're proposing a 15-meter frontage. And we're suggesting that they lower that to 12 meters, which is 40 feet. It's only a 10-foot reduction, which would then give the existing lot a bit more area and frontage, and they wouldn't need it would reduce it would provide them with a bigger rear yard, so they'd have a bit more room, because that's a big house, and then you'd still have a lot adjacent that was quite big enough for a decent house. So that's one of the changes that we'd like to talk to the applicant about. And then it's the line that separates the property in back. So the lot to be severed, that's 802 square meters. We might want to change that lot line somewhat to accommodate the lot area. So there's just different, we haven't had an opportunity to talk to him at all. So we'd like to sit down and see how we can make it fit a bit differently or a bit better, or reduce the number of variances. There's different alternatives available.
Linda, if we approve it tonight though, as is, and you don't meet before October 2nd, would it go to the lands?
Yes, it's going to the land. It is
like
going.
This, though?
That's correct.
So for that reason, should we not wait until October 2nd and approve the copy that we would like to see go to the land division?
If you don't provide the land division with a recommendation, it will move forward as submitted. So if we don't have an opportunity to meet with the applicant between now and then, this might be what goes forward.
Whether we approve it or not.
Correct.
I guess I'm a touch confused. Would Mr. Sinclair agree to that?
He can speak if you'd like, but my understanding is he has been in contact with the county and wants to sit down and talk.
Not a public meeting, though.
It's not a public meeting.
But
no.
I think
I just want to hear that. That's fine.
Well, I think, Linda, if I'm right, and you can nod, Linda said that you had had some discussions. So I don't think we want to get into it right now, because you're going to have that discussion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, thank you. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor Bridge, then I would recommend that council deal with the recommendation that's in the staff report, and that'll go forward. And then if it gets changed, we'll have a chance to reconsider.
Yeah, and I think what Linda's pointing out here, and I've sat on land division for 2 years, is if you work this, you kind of know maybe where land division is going to be on it, somewhat. Although there's different people there, and everybody gets a choice to talk about it. But I think Linda's trying to set it up for success rather than.
Yes.
So I think that. Yeah, and I think that's what we're trying to do here, and we don't want to delay the process, so that's why we're going to do it this way. Right. Is that fair?
It's fair. I also want to point out there's another angle here that I think you should be aware of. So this will come back for a public meeting for minor variances.
Yeah, for sure.
And in these situations, especially with infill lots, the neighboring properties, they have a notification for a consent application. They would not be aware of the fact that there's variances required to accommodate the proposal as set forward currently. So even though you might be supportive of it for the consent reasons and you're well aware of what variances are necessary to accommodate it, when the public meeting is happening for the variances, there could be people who are opposed to that part of the application. And in those cases, sometimes it's more appropriate to hold the public meeting for the variances or the zoning, if it's a zoning amendment, prior to the consent being finalized or approved.
Yep.
So that's another thing to think about. And I've seen it happen where consent is approved, they come back for the variances and the neighbors come out and they're very, very upset about it and opposed to it, and it's refused. So,
but the neighbors also get notification of the land division.
They get notification that a severance has occurred. Yes. They don't get notification that a variance is required in order to accommodate the severance.
Yep. Okay. Yep. But we're recommending it. Okay. To the recognition.
I just one quick question.
Yep.
So we will send out notifications before the consent that we're going to host a public meeting.
Before consent?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Oh, no.
Okay, so we have to wait till land division has a look at it.
Well, you're talking about variances, so it's different than consent.
So this will be approved conditional on any variances that will be required. And then they will come back after for the variances. And that's when you'll send out a notice of public meeting.
I understand the process, but yeah.
Well, you want me to read them out?
There's a lot.
There's a lot of them. There's 7 of them.
7 of them.
Mayor, if I may, those are sort of the standard conditions for creating lots. So I mean, they may change if the sketch changes. So I mean, we're striking the committee with our comments now, and we'll see what comes back.
That's right.
The normal procedure is the variances will come later, and you'll have to deal with that as committee adjustments.
Exactly. Yep. Okay. Do we have a mover? Yeah, Mayor Faulkner, Councillor Turton, all in favor? Opposed? Okay, no. Good. Thank you. Wastewater, sanitary manhole. I turn this over to you. I think I'm turning it over to you here.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Bridge.
Maintenance holes.
Maintenance. Oh yes.
Yep.
I got that wrong, didn't I, again?
I'd like to welcome our wastewater foreman, Mr. Mark Robertson, to the meeting tonight. And take it away, Mark.
All right, thanks for having me. Sanitary manhole repair program, maintenance hole program. The 2018 capital budget has $170,000 in Harrison inflow and infiltration. $50,000 of that budget is allocated for sanitary maintenance hole repair. That's cleaning up the benching and sealing the structure and making sure no extraneous flows from groundwater or surface water are penetrating the sanitary system. We've been working on this program dating back to 2012, Harrison and Palmerston. The required work was sent out for bid with assistance from Triton Engineering. We're looking at 11 structures that were identified by town staff. Triton notified specialized contractors that perform this work for their request for quotation. Based on similar work completed, we estimated the work to be about $50,000. The remaining Harrison I&I budget was spent on the CCTV contract that we completed earlier this spring. And I'll be bringing our report to the next council, October 2nd, to review that. Back to the maintenance hole. We only received one bid for the work, and it was from DM Robichaux. And it was for $25,000, and that $25,000 included the repair work for all 11 maintenance holes that we put in. It also includes a 12-month warranty on the materials they use and the workmanship. While we only received one bid, the town staff believe that the bid represents good value for the work being completed, and Triton agrees with that assessment.
Mark, did the Robichaux group do the last?
They actually
contract?
They were awarded the CCTV contract.
Yeah. Any questions from her? I mean, this is, over the years, has shown really good results.
Tremendous results.
So, if there's no questions, the recommendation is that the council receives the wastewater foreman's September 18th, 2018 report, sanitary maintenance full repair program, and accepts the quotation provided by DM Robichaud Limited for $25,000 plus HST. Councillor Anderson, Councillor Dirksen, all in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much, Mark.
Thanks.
I'll pass the chair back to the mayor.
Thank you, David, and I'll turn it over to Bill for the next one.
Mayor Bridge, members of council, you approved a tender to service Noble Family Road earlier this year for $251,000. We have a proposal to build on Lot 3, which is shown in your drawing there. That's the purchases by Metzger Home Heating, I believe, is the name of the company buying the property. The proposed use would be a commercial building and a commercial gymnasium located on the site. There would be 24 parking spaces provided, a single entrance to Noble Family Road, be connected to sewer and water. There's accessible parking and a front sidewalk into the building proposed. This is going to have some public attending this, given that it's a gym, so you have to do a little bit more in terms of treatment of the site. We're recommending that there be a landscape strip around the periphery of the parking lot, and these requests have been conveyed on to the applicant, and that site plan is in the process of being revised. We don't require a lot of site development in the industrial park, but we do like to see under our tree planting policy some native trees planted, and also in terms of finishing the site, we like the properties to be paved, so a typical requirement has been paving within 2 years of the town paving the street. So that's what the site plan agreement says. We're recommending approval, subject to final details on grading, drainage, servicing, and landscaping coming back to the satisfaction of town staff. And that includes the paving requirement, and that site plan agreement be signed. Questions? Questions for Bill?
Great to see another building going up.
Really good.
So the recommendation is consideration of the CEO clerk's September 14th, 2018 report. The council approves the site plan entitled J&J Metzger, prepared by Triton Engineering, for property on Noble Road, Palmerston Industrial Park, subject to the final site plan providing grading, drainage, servicing, and landscaping details being submitted for approval by town staff, including paving of the entrance part of the front parking area between the building and the street, and that the final site plan is included in the development agreement pertaining to the lands. Mover and a seconder for that. Councilor Churton, Councilor Elliott, all in favor? You're back up, Bill.
Mayor Bridge, September 12th, we received the attached request from Jack Krasinski of Krasinski Enterprises. He was proposing development of the medicinal cannabis facility in the Palmerston Industrial Park. He, at the time, advised he was well into the Health Canada approval process, but under the agreement of purchase and sale, he was to obtain a building permit within a year. That year has flown by, and unfortunately Health Canada has not issued his approval, not for any lack of action on his part. In fact, he's been in touch with our MP about why Health Canada has not issued his approval, and he has confirmed with me that he would certainly appreciate your support in asking Health Canada by resolution why they haven't issued the approval for this facility. He has provided all the documents. He did an inquiry through Mr. Nader's office, and I know that was handled magnificently by the staff in that office. And Mr. Nader himself also became personally involved, and so he would like your support in asking Health Canada why. He's number 80 on a list of 300. So if the government is so interested in having these facilities in place and making this available to the public, they need to get on to issuing the licenses. So in the meantime, he does need an extension to his agreement of purchase and sale for another year. He does have first right of refusal, so basically we're asking you to move all the conditions in his agreement of purchase and sale 1 year down the road. And that's our recommendation to you, that we give him 1 more year with his first right of refusal and to obtain a building permit. I know he's met with us throughout the year. He's kept communication up. I know he's anxious to go ahead. I think we're on the cusp of it getting approval, but one last push by this council and by Mr. Nader's office would be a real help.
So would the, through you, Mayor Bridge, so would the motion also include a letter to, I'm assuming RMP,
Yes.
in support of his application? Yep. And I will make that motion then.
Okay. Seconder? That part, Gene? And then I have a recommendation. So we're adding it to that recommendation. That the council receives the September 14th, 2018 report from the CEO, clerk, county extension request for how do you say it? Brzezinski Enterprises, and approves 1 year extension the terms of original sale and the first right of refusal, on the council resolution requesting Health Canada issue the request license to Brzezinski's Enterprise so that development of the facility can proceed with the town of Minto as soon as possible. The MP John Nader receives a copy of that resolution. And speaking to this, I know in fact he's going to be speaking at a forum in October for the county. He's done a lot of research. This is going to be the best facility around. They're going to do environmental, a lot of really neat things. He's working with a firm out of Colorado. So I know he'll get this done. It'll just trying to get that final approval. He's ready to roll. As soon as he gets that, he can go. So I have no problem supporting this. All in favor?
Yep.
Good. Thank you. Turn it over to Mary Lou.
Finance Committee has 2 items on the agenda tonight. And before I turn it over to Treasurer Duff, I would just like to comment. This is now the 3rd quarter review, the half-year review of our budget. And, you know, we have gone through what the budget process is about. And I just want to thank Treasurer Duff and his staff for making this review so intensive. It's, when you look at the numbers, a lot of times they show the year-to-date actual, they show the year-to-date budget, but in last year's figures. But in some cases, there's timing differences. And this is why Treasurer Duff has put this all in words, and it makes it so easy to follow, to see exactly where you're at, and why when you look at this year's actual compared to last year's actual, it might be different. And so for that reason, I want to thank you, Treasurer Duff, and I'll now turn it over to you.
Great. Thanks, Chair Caldwell. I think your opening comments are so accurate because especially at this time of year, the timing differences are just very glaring. But if you look at where we were a year ago, you can kind of see that. So we've got our budgeted reserve transfers. They're in there, and they're big dollar amounts. So you see that, and that affects the operating. The other one is our insurance premium. Like, just for simplicity, I always just allocate it all to admin, and then you put it into the property departments. And again, that's a sizable amount too. So they cover for quite a bit. And then fire it's kind of a unique one because they're not biweekly pays, and that it's staggered through the year, and it may be backloaded there. And it is probably one of the departments that runs closest to activity level. We don't have fires or accidents or that. It's just maintenance and that. But if you have a busy year and you have no control over it, then the costs go up too. You can see that. People and property. So normally the biggest thing in there is our conservation authority levies, but this year we had, as you're all aware, the flood mapping, the LIDAR and that too, and that's in that department. So a good chunk of that had been expanded by July 31st. Public Works, there's not as much revenue, but what there is tends to, I see I've known the gravel pit royalties, they came in today, so they're a little later. There's so many departments and allocations with Public Works, so I always kind of look at like total wages, and you can see they're running very close to budget. winter control, it's just, it's an ongoing challenge, as you say, like this winter went on and on into April. And when you get those temperatures that are around freezing, it's almost better if you get a cold and you get a dump of snow because you're having to constantly salt and sand, and that's what we seem to be into there. So, water and sewer again, pretty close. There's a lot of the debt payments are there, and they tend to be in the back part of the year too. And it's always kind of funny how water and sewer seem to mirror each other, just the way the targets go. Cemetery again, basically, there's no way to really forecast revenue, and you're in the business of maintaining lawn and the monuments, and those are the expenses. Recreation, it's been good. Like the summer program, this is at least the second time in a row where the demand, and I guess it's where your family belongs. And in the hot summer, there's the swimming pool. The day programs have just been incredibly popular both years, so that's very good. Oregon Theater again, Grace and Matt are doing a great job, I think, promoting. They've had more special events, and that's gone well. And the small facilities are pretty much as we expect. And I guess the star for revenue, once again, is the building department because the activity just, as you can see, is record breaking. And they've, well, you can see with covering maternity leaves and everything. So again, they're kind of like fire. They go with the level of activity. And as Belinda reported in her previous report on the economic development activities for the year, very, very active. Again, the Clifford Digging-It has been the major capital project for sure. And July, things have just got it started. So that's been going, and there's been a lot of signage and promotion and other activity. In May and June, there's always a lot going on for the hand cars, the party in the park, at the farmer's market, and everything. And maybe it slows down a bit in the summer, but then Christmas comes along, and that'll go too. So in admin, we had not done an awful lot by July 31st. The computer improvements are coming along slowly, but not much spent by July. Fire, we had the pumper trapped in and the thermal camera and some more protective gear, bunker gear. We were not forecasting any emergency measures capital for this year. Again, Public Works is really dominated by the Clifford project, and that's going on. We've also done a lot of paving, the 8th line, which I know is near and dear to our deputy mayor. So that was definitely a needed project. And George Street, again, that's one of those that had to go by the weather, but I think it's virtually done now, the block from Arthur to the arena, and we're doing a little bit on George Street North too. The Legion parking lot, it was completed in time for the Canada Packers Union, so that's good. The pedestrian crossovers, you've seen them spring up, and you know, they're certainly eye-catching and for the public education, but you know, I live only a block away from one, and it seems to stop the traffic pretty well. Sewers, the major thing is some work at the Harrison Lift Station and doing some planned upgrades there, and the camera work, and that hopefully will give us better information to make long-term capital decisions and all that. Waterworks, again, it's mostly the components as part of the others, such as George Street and Aurora Street. And some badly needed work done at Minto Pines, because I know from DWQMS purposes, it's our smallest facility, but it's the one that maybe requires the closest monitoring, and that will help with this too. Cemeteries, we've got some public input, gathering some designs, and seeing how we should consider it in the future. Recreation facilities, Al is always on top of it, working with the contractors. So we've done some compressor work at the Clifford Arena, the Harrison Pool. That was a major expenditure for this year, and it's gone well. And we have the bright electronic sign in Oregon, and it's certainly very eye-catching. And some more enhancements to the Clifford Ball Diamond, and seem to be used more, and some better features for the spectators there, and also some work done at the Harrison Complex. And the Railway Museum, more active, and we've installed some equipment and software there too. As part of the Clifford project, we're doing the streetscape, lights are up, and we'll have all that going on there too. And some other engineering and design work. So I think those are the highlights for there. And again, consider the timing. That's what most of the things are.
Anyone have any questions?
Great report, Gord.
Just great report. I want to say that I don't have a question. That's got to be.
That's good. I was leaning
Thanks
on
to the fantastic report and the great narrative. It is very self-explanatory, and we really appreciate that again, Gord.
No problem.
I'll move it.
Moved by Mayor Bridge, seconded by Deputy. Not yet. Councillor Dave Turton. All in favor? And the motion is passed. And the second item on our agenda is the approval of some very large accounts.
Very large. And if you recall, to July we hadn't spent too much. I think it's August and September. There's a lot of money going out. Of course, September is our third quarter, and the admin is almost $2 million in county and school board remittances. So as our ratepayers write those checks this month, that's where a lot of it goes too. And again, we've talked about the Harrison Pool. We've another 76 included in there. Lighting upgrades at the Palmerston Arena for just under 30,000. Drainage work, almost 100,000. And as you're aware, we're very active in municipal drains this past year. And the George Street, 190,000. That's a pretty much finished that one. And our crosswalks, as you know, about another 20. So we're into the heavy capital spending part of the year right now.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Then the recommendation is that council receives the treasurer's report dated September 14th, 2018 regarding approval of accounts and approves the town of Minto accounts by department for August 2018. Deputy Mayor Faulkner, Councillor Elliott, all in favor? And the motion is passed. And I turn the meeting back to Mayor Bridge.
And I've got other business to disclose. Jean, I'll get you to start off here at that end.
Just commenting on the Terry Fox run. There were lots of people out running at it on Sunday. Some big teams and some little teams. We only had 4 on our team, but we raised $1,000. I know other teams were out there working hard to beat this disease, but it was great. It was a busy weekend all over town, but it was good to see people out there on a very hot day.
Judy?
I just wanted to mention we had the inaugural meeting of the 100 Women Who Care Rural Wellington last evening. We had over 100 members. We have over 100 members. It was hosted at the Palmerston Community Center. There was a lot of incredible energy in the room. We have a website, was put together by Creative Worth. Heather Waterworth has done just a fantastic job on it. And so you can find that by Googling 100 Women Who Care Rural Wellington, or it's www.100, the number, and then the letters, WWC for Women Who Care, and then rw.com. Nope, not saying it again. There were 3 charities that were nominated, and presentations were made. Belinda nominated the Children's Foundation of Guelph Wellington, their free play program. She's had a good couple of days because when the vote was taken, that was the charity that benefited last evening. There were two other, of course, worthy nominations made and very good presentations made as well, but they go back into the hat for next time. I have to check to see whether or not I can say the number because before the meeting I couldn't say the number yet, and I don't know whether I can yet or not. But anyways, significant dollars went to. No, I can't. They haven't said I can do it yet. So significant dollars, and so watch for that. Will be delivered to the Children's Foundation of Guelph Wellington, the free play program, and. Belinda, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I understand that it goes to children who otherwise would not be able to participate in sports and so on. And so it's great for learning teamwork and learning how to abide by rules and so on and so forth. Is that kind of the... Yeah, not just sports, but arts. Programming, sure, piano lessons. Like yeah. Skills, like that. So these funds will go specifically to the rural Wellington. Oh, that's very important. Yes. Directed, not in Guelph, but to the communities of the world. So they were actually tapped out of money, and had a request that they needed $50,000 to be raised by the end of August, or else no more families would get this funding. So it was an urgent request. So I know the Children's Foundation is very grateful.
And it's a program that I believe Matt has talked about a lot, that we use a lot here because we find out that individuals wouldn't be able to go into some of those programs without that support. So it's just a boom, boom. And you must have had a pretty good speech there, Belinda.
She had an excellent speech.
Yeah.
She had a very good speech.
Stressful, though. A lot of pressure. Like to have an organization depending on you to make a good pitch to get them the funding. So I was grateful for the
It was great, and thank Judy for your getting this rolling.
Well,
as well with
I do want to say there are three other women, and I actually came late to the party to help out. But Deborah Whale and Kay Ayers and Helen Edwards are the other three who, and they, like I said, they were already kind of going when I said I would love to help with that. So,
and there was a
lot.
They
didn't say no.
A lot of good representation from Minto there.
Super representation from this council, council's spouses, and staff as well. So, and from a broad area of Wellington and surrounding areas.
Perfect. Excellent. Bill, wait a minute. I'll do you want to go?
No, I did have just a little something. Sure. I don't want to take away somebody's thunder, and you might be talking about this fall fair.
No, you go ahead. I was, but you go ahead.
I just wanted to say and congratulate the Egg Society on a wonderful fall fair. Our grandchildren were there and we were there every day, all day. But it was excellent. And I just want to comment that, we were a little disappointed when the Midway went. But this year with the bouncy castles and the one amount that you could keep playing on these bouncy castles for 2 days was an excellent idea. The kids loved every minute of it. It was not a financial drain on the parents and grandparents. And it was just wonderful. They really enjoyed it. I think they enjoyed it as much, if not more, than Midway rides.
Right on.
And everything about the fair. We just kept going back and forth from the animals to the tractors to the all the different exhibits. It was an excellent fair. And I want to thank and congratulate the Egg.
I just want to add one thing. I got to go up to see the soapbox derby.
Yeah, wasn't that something?
And they're talking about an adult division next year, and I've got my plan already in my mind. What I'm going to build, because I've always wanted to go down that hill in something when I was a kid, and to see those kids, and it was so funny. Some of them couldn't make to the end. I felt bad for them, and other ones just blowing by. They were pushing, but great crowd out, and man, there were some really unique vehicles that were made there. Wasn't it a lot of fun to watch? And that's what the fair board has done really well in this transitional time. And I think you mentioned it, Mary Lou, where we've lost the Midways. They're not around anymore. You just can't get them. They're too expensive if you could get them. And they're really doing well. And it's because we got a lot of youth there too. There are a lot of new people coming in and with new ideas. And it's great to see it keep going. Anyways, that's it for me. Bill, I think you're on last.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge.
Not
I have
least.
2 items. First item deals with, I put the recommendation from last meeting, the patios for 212 Main Street East, and you did approve a resolution approving it in principle. I know you did have some concerns with it, but the consideration was that it would be built in 2019. The applicant has come back and wondered if there was any leeway or possibly going ahead for a short time in 2018 just as a test program. I do have some revised sketches. I would like our business and economic manager to look at them, and our building official, our public works people, and the county. I just wanted to get some direction. If it happened to go through those groups, would you be willing to allow something for a short period of time this fall? Honestly, I just got the revised drawings yesterday. We haven't had a chance really to talk to Mr. Singh about them. It might be a bit of a, the weather's wonderful now, but it could change in a big hurry here in October as it comes forward. So, if just some direction from council, do you want to even consider it if we can work it out with the staff in the county?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Bridge. I think it'd be a good thing because it could be a month, and it would give a lot of people the opportunity to get their head around it. There's a lot of other communities doing it, and so we do it for a month or 6 weeks, and then we hone it for next year.
Yep.
Because I think it's something likely that's going to go ahead. So I'd be in favor of it.
Anybody else want to speak? I have no concerns because I think the staff can handle, along with the county, any of the logistical problems that we might have. And the fact is, we know it has to come out when we start plowing snow. So we can't keep it in there. So I think they got a limited time, but if the restaurant gets open and whatever, it's just a little boost for them probably to get going. If you have nice days like we have, and we always get some nice days in the fall. So I'd be all for helping a small business.
Mayor Bridge, I don't really need a motion, but don't be surprised if we can manage it that if something pops up, but I don't want to make any promises because there's lots of people still have to have a look at this.
So. Yep. Thank you. And your next item.
Do we need a motion for that, or
no? I don't think we need a motion. If it's, you can make one if you want.
Do you want to make a motion just to cover it?
Let's cover that.
Okay.
Sure.
Moved by Judy, second by Dave. All in favor? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I'm surprised how many people are still left here.
Yeah, I know.
This is very unusual.
Empty.
They were all waiting to hear this.
I don't think so. Mayor Bridge, council and staff, media, this evening I officially announced my retirement as CAO clerk for the town. I filed my retirement letter with the mayor and council today. We prepared for this and discussed it in closed how this might happen, and we've been talking about it for a long time. So my last day of work will be December 14th. Terry and I will host our final Christmas chili that day, and this year we'll extend an invitation to members of the community to join us. This is a tradition that we've had here for 7 years and in other municipalities before, so it's a chance for the Minto family to enjoy friendship and an authentic Texas state champion family chili recipe on us. So details will come on that. So Terry's here tonight, and she's been so supportive of me and to Minto. She came here over 11 years ago, and she's been away from family. So with my retirement, we'll spend more time in Texas. She's going to continue working for Mr. Nader, and we will both support him in his campaign for re-election next year. So it's time for the many bright young minds here at all levels of our staff to take on a greater role shaping Minto's future. They've had a big role all along, and I know they can do more. Your succession plan provided for preparing staff for enhanced responsibilities so they're ready to replace people in senior positions as they retire. This allows town to backfill with younger qualified talent and will help council control costs. You've been very creative managing staff while responding to provincial mandates that never seem to stop, the record development pressure we've faced, implementing a busy capital program, and reconstructing 2 downtowns in 4 years. I started back in the summer '83 as a student planner, and I remember at the time making fun of those old men with 30 years experience who started started in the 50s, so in 1985, I actually had a placement with Bill Weingard with the Ministry of Municipal Affairs back then. So, as you know, Bill helped hire me. Well, first time before the mayor circumvented that. Anyway, it's a long story.
We got you anyways.
Quarter century later, he was there again. So it's kind of funny how things go around. It's been 21 years in Owen Sound, 4 in Georgian Bluffs, nearly 8 here. So 35 years, that's enough. But this has been the most rewarding work I've done. All of you who care so much about this community in here, the residents included, it's the best Canadian municipality around. And you know that, Mayor Bridge, from your work with FCM. In the time I have left, I'll work with you and the incoming council to make the transition as seamless as possible. We've got an inaugural meeting December 4th, orientation on the 11th, and we've already started the budget, so not to worry. And I know things will be in good hands after that. Thanks for this time to speak to you. There will be lots of time to talk about our experiences together. We have our final council meeting November 6th. The Minto Christmas party is December 8th, and then we'll have chili together on the 14th. So it's an late hour. We've been here. It's been a long day. Those of you who managed to come to that Palmerston meeting, my mom told me there'd be days like this. It's just one of those days, but it's a late hour. If you would please consider a motion to accept my retirement so we can wind this up and go home, I'd certainly appreciate that.
I would so move. With regrets.
Second by Councillor Elliott. All in favor?
You weren't supposed to do that.
I know, and and Bill told me I'm not allowed to say anything either.
I know,
and none
so
of
we
the
just
none of the
did.
council can say that, but we will have our send off for you, Bill, and as you say, it's late hour, so we'll save our appreciation for another time.
Thank you.
I'm respecting your wishes.
Thank
you. Okay, that's it.
That's all.
Okay, so we're just gonna move right into our stuff here, and I'll finish this off. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Caldwell. The committee of the whole convenes in a regular council meeting. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Anderson. The council of the town of Minto ratifies the motion made in the committee of the whole. All in favor? Don't look at Belinda, you'll all be crying. I had to look right at her.
I'm not looking at it.
I don't look at her.
Shows Mark.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Elliott, the bylaw number 2018-74 to amend bylaw number 0186 to bring the Minto zoning bylaw into conformity with the Maitland Valley and Saugeen Valley protection plans, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed on the council. So the corporation, all in favor? Okay. Moved by Councillor Caldwell, second by Councillor Dirksen, bylaw number 2018-75 to amend the zoning bylaw 0186 as amended regarding 310 Queen Street, South Palmerston, be introduced and read first, second, and third time, passed on the council. Seal the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Caldwell, the bylaw number 2018-76 to amend zoning bylaw number 0186 for 83 Allora Street, North Harrison, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, passed on the council. Seal the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Turton, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, bylaw number 2018-77 to amend zoning bylaw number 0186 as amended regarding 9134 Wellington Road 5, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed on the council. Seal the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Turton, bylaw number 2018-78 to authorize the execution of a site plan agreement with Metzger Heating Limited to be proposed development on for the proposed development on Noble Family Road, Palmerston Industrial Park, be introduced, read first, second, third time, seal the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councilor Dirksen, second by Councilor Anderson, the bylaw number 2018-79 to confirm the actions of the Council of the Corporation Town of Minto respecting a meeting held September 18, 2018, be introduced, read first, second, and third time. Passed on by Council, COC of the Corporation. All in favor? And finally, everybody go home. Moved by Councilor Turton, second by Councilor Elliott. The Council of the Town of Minto adjourns to meet again at the call of the Mayor. Thank you very much. Great meeting, everybody.